Welcome back to the channel. Jason Morris, eXp Realty, here about living in Aurora. Today, talk about the 5 mistakes, things you want to avoid when looking to buy a house, new home, resale, whatever it might be, and you're looking to buy a home. So stay tuned for that. Again, remember to subscribe and be alerted to the weekly videos I send out. And if you have any other topics you'd like me to cover, please comment below. I'll read all the comments. Thanks. Hi everybody, Jason eXp. This video is on 5 things to avoid, top 5 things I see people run into when purchasing a new home, whether it's a new build or resale. Number one thing is thinking they don't need an agent on themselves. They'll reach out to the builder, work with the builder directly with no representation for themselves, or think they can deal with the listing agent. So you drive by a house, you see the for sale sign in the yard with the listing agent, they'll reach out to that person directly and think they can get a better deal because they'll be saving the seller some money by not having to pay a buyer's broker. So kind of 2 mistakes in that one there, but always have a representation for yourself. A reason on the new build side is builders hire those salespeople for themselves. All the contracts are written in the builder's favor, so nothing is for the buyer. The builders can do almost anything they want as far as changing prices. If you looked at and tried to buy a new build during COVID and coming out of COVID, builders were changing their prices during the building process. They had it written in their contracts that could happen. Supply chains could cause issues, could cause the prices to go up. Lumber prices, commodity prices, everything could go up. So even though you signed, let's say June for your new house, it's not going to be ready for 9 to 12 months. In that 9 to 12 month period, it could change what you thought you were going to pay. So always want to have a buyer on your side. Buyer's agent on your side to help fight that, to represent that. I helped some people when they were under contract and then the market changed, so they got under contract, and I think it was the end of 21, coming into 22. As we all know, that May to June time frame of last year, a year ago, the market totally changed with the interest rates going up. We were able to get actually the prices to drop because the market changed so dramatically by the time they closed later in the year, September time frame. If they didn't have an agent on their side, I don't think the builder would have done any changes. Buyers, you can walk away, but you lose that earnest money, that deposit that you put down. On the resale side, so you think you can just go to the listing agent to say, hey, or sellers, I can pay you a little bit less because you won't have to pay a buyer's agent. That's not necessarily true. So one of the pieces of a listing agent, when they sign the contract with the sellers, they sign for the whole commission. So I'll be helping the seller sell their place for the full 6%, 5.8%, 6.5%, depending on what rate I can negotiate. That's my rate. So the seller's going to pay me that regardless if there's a buyer's agent involved or we're dealing directly with the buyer with no agent in place. The benefit to me as the listing agent is that if you're not represented, I could treat you as a customer. I get to keep that full commission. I don't have to split it with the buyer's agent. So yeah, I may have some incentive to try to work out a deal there, but I represent the seller. I represent the best interest of the seller. So I need to do what's right for my client. You, on the other hand, I'm treating you as a customer. If you're not represented by a buyer's agent, you have nobody on your side of that transaction to help you. So always have an agent on your side. Just kind of like going into the courtroom. It's not advised to represent yourself. You should hire an attorney. Go into the doctor's office. You shouldn't do surgery on yourself. Doctors rely on other doctors. So you always want to have somebody representing you to help you through that process. Number two, I guess three biggest mistake is really understanding the contracts that you're working with. Again, you want to have a buyer's agent on your side to walk you through that. It's a legal contract. There's legal ramifications for not fulfilling your obligation. Understanding what's all in there, understanding the dates. In the Colorado contract, there's a section of all the dates in which things need to be done by in order to meet the obligations of your contract, purchase contract. So having an agent on your side, you can walk through all that ahead of time. I like to walk through my clients with that contract ahead of time so they see it, they understand what's expected of them. The nice thing in Colorado is the resale purchase contracts are all in the buyer's favor. So the buyer has all the outs, again, as you follow those restrictions, those parameters in the contract. You can get out of the deal for those reasons and not have any money at risk. So you really want to make sure you understand those contracts. At the top of every single one of them, it says that this is a legal contract. You have the right to seek counsel to review it with. Definitely you have the right to do that. We as agents go through courses, we go through reoccurring training every year to ensure we understand those contracts and communicate them to you. We can't change them, we can add to them. There's specific sections for us to do that depending on the circumstances. But again, have somebody to walk you through those contracts, whether it's an agent or an attorney or somebody, again, to be on your side. I see, I've been on the listing side of contracts where the buyer's agents haven't done that for their clients and they can kind of get stuck. I actually talked with another agent today for a listing that they had sold last year, and the HOA that the home was in was actually under litigation with their insurance provider. It was a townhome community, had to do with the roof. They were in litigation with the insurance. That was all disclosed from the listing agent's side, but the buyer and their agent didn't see it in those disclosures. They didn't see it in the HOA documents that were provided to them per the purchase contract. And so now they're coming back asking that question as to, hey, it seems like it's a surprise to us that there's a special assessment due to this litigation. Well, it was provided to you. So there, the question now comes on the buyer and the buyer agent. What was their communication? Did they go through that paperwork? Did that buyer's agent really represent that buyer appropriately as they should? So again, it's making sure you have somebody good on your side. Again, whether it's a buyer's agent or an attorney, somebody that understands the industry and has done transactions in that area. Number four is, buyer beware with everything. Always make sure you research, you understand what you're purchasing. A home is most of ours biggest investment. You have due diligence periods while you're under contract to make sure you inspect everything in that home, get as much information, due diligence documents, HOA documents, insurance, make sure it can be covered by insurance, age of the roof, get an inspection. Generally that's the first period of the contract, 5, 10, maybe 14 days of time to get inspections done on the property. Again, the whole intent is to make sure you understand what you're buying. If something comes out of that, those inspections, that process that you don't like, again, there's stipulations in the contract in which you can ask the seller to correct it, or you can ask them to lower the price, you can ask them to give some concessions on that. But again, make sure you inspect all that you can in that period of time that you're allowed in the contract. I've seen so many people, and really this came out of the COVID rebuild when the market was just going crazy. People were waiving that obligation or requirement and saying, I'll just take the house as is. I need a home, I want to buy it. And now they're regretting it. Now you're hearing stories come out on the news of, hey, I bought this home, I wasn't able to inspect it because of the market, but I'm surprised that the roof leaks, or I'm surprised there's plumbing problems, or there's foundation problems, or whatever. When, again, working with a competent agent, you'll have those checks. You may not even ask for them to be corrected, but at least you know what you're buying. That's, rule number one in my book is you got to understand as a buyer what you're buying. All the good stuff and bad stuff. You may still take it, you may not, you may walk away, which is fine. But again, you really need to understand what you're buying. Mistake number 5 is purely around time frames. So everybody's situation is different. You may need to push. You may be getting moved due to a job or some life circumstance or whatever, and you need to do something sooner rather than later. That can really bind some of those decisions that you need to do, some of the processes that you really need to take your time to go through. Again, the sooner you can get with an agent like myself to talk through those processes, to get everything out in the open sooner, it will make the steps going forward that much quicker, smoother, easier, and reduce some of that stress. Let's talk about it here in the front end side. Get everything out in the open, what you're looking for, what you need. Here's all the contracts, all the stuff that can come up, go right, go wrong. Get all that up in the beginning, whether that's a one-day conversation, 2-day, a week, whatever that time is needed, to try to find something to buy. The flip side of that is people that have all the time in the world. I can move, I can't move, I'm just kind of looking to see what's out there. What's the best use of your time? Do you really want to move? Are you looking for an investment property? Are you looking to turn the home you're in into an investment property and buy another one that's more your lifelong home? Figuring out a period of time that works for that. Both, if you're leaving your home and want it to be an investment property, well, what's a good time of year to lease that out? That follows kind of the real estate market, the school year. A lot of people want to rent, get into a new place during the summer months so that they're in place, ready if they have kids to go into the school year. Really understand the whole picture of what you're looking to do and when you're trying to do it by. Homes will come and go. It may take some time to find the right one. Again, as long as you're okay with that and it doesn't negatively impact anything, it works for you. It's your time frame. So it's making sure you understand that total picture, total ramifications, to talk through that. And so I love having those conversations of understanding that picture, where you want to be, when you want to be there, and what are the ripple effects of that, of those decisions and those choices to make. So again, I'm here to help have those conversations. I really like to have them obviously as soon in the process as possible, so we can work through all those scenarios, all the situations that can come up. Again, the contracts, and that you're fully prepared, and we repeat that process. So again, it's not a one conversation, that's it. You need to know it going forward. It's a repetitive process as we go through it, of reminders and, hey, these are things to watch out for, these are the issues to safeguard against. So again, the process is as smooth as possible, and you come out the other side happy with the place you bought and where you're ready to move. Quick little caveat on, say it's number 6 issue. It goes back to the new builds. One thing that people assume is when they buy a new build, as soon as they buy it, close on it, ready to move in, everything is done. I think I've mentioned this before in previous videos, that that's not the case with a new build. As soon as a builder gets that certificate of occupancy from the county, you're closing. Regardless if there's some dings in the walls, some hinges aren't in place, maybe some door hardware isn't there, there's blue tape here and there from some walkthroughs you've done that still needs to be corrected, you're going to have what's called a punch list. And the biggest thing there, the biggest mistake people is that they think that their house is ready to move in the day they close on a new build. That isn't always the case, and so don't be surprised by that. Again, Jason, eXp Realty, phone number below, also down below is my calendar link to get on my calendar if you want to have some of those initial conversations. Again, love to have you move to Aurora. Here to help however you need.